Run!
Elevation is on Max now, and we need to talk about it.
I must have made 1,000 boxes of this stuff.
This movie takes a familiar format and leans heavily on charisma and star power to carry this low-budget apocalypse movie.
You have to jump!
Okay, let's jump right into it then. But first, make sure you like and subscribe. It really helps the channel grow and helps me bring you more awesome videos. Sounds like a win-win to me. Okay, let's get to it. Elevation has a surprisingly simple premise. Something came up from the ground and started killing everyone. But they found that for some reason the monsters won't go above 8,000 feet. So there's really only a few places that these Reapers can't go. I mean, I know where I live, it's not even a possibility to get to that elevation. But before we get too deep into everything, let's break down the characters so we can really understand the story. Will, played by Captain America himself, Anthony Mackie. He's a desperate dad, a man that would risk anything for his son, including his own life. He's resourceful, and it seems like he's made himself into a helpful and valued member of this new society. He's likable, so you want to root for him, even though he seems like a big rule follower type of guy. Unfortunately, Will's wife was convinced that another survivor named Nina had the answers to stop the Reapers. She went with her on a mission much like the one that Will has to go on now. But like I said, unfortunately, Will's wife didn't return, and Will really resents Nina for this. He's tough, but let's be real, he sometimes feels one-dimensional, like a hero in a B movie where the emotions get trimmed for time.
You hit the nail on the head, Mr. Gustav.
Nina, played by Marina Baccarin. She's a flask-wielding, poisoned past scientist who just knows the monster's weakness may be hiding in some bizarre alloy she has at her lab. She just can't get to it because it's way below the line. She's the cool, calculated brains of the operation, even though she has some serious demons of her own. She's tortured by the loss of her family, and it's easy for her to be unlikable to the others that live in her community. On the day the Reapers attacked, she was at work on a Saturday, and she made it, but she really doesn't even know what happened to her husband or kids. And okay, let's be honest about her character. She's really easy to hate in this movie. She's a person that has completely given up, and she knows that everyone hates her, and she's completely accepted that.
We both know who you're trying to f***, Katie, and it's not me. It's your best friend's husband.
But no matter how much we hate her, she is still actually the hero of this story. She's the one that saves humanity, not just her son. And she's mostly intoxicated the whole time while she did it. Okay, Maddie Hassan plays Katie. She's a no-nonsense sidekick character who will keep the team moving, but in a kind of surly way. She's scrappy, resourceful, and she's ready to throw down when the going gets tough. She doesn't like Nina, but that's okay because Nina doesn't like her either.
Friday night, you know.
Is it?
Katie seems like she was just a regular girl from Texas, and she was probably just a young woman trying to figure out her life. She's definitely got a little bit of a wild side to her. She had gotten hit by her boyfriend in a DV situation on the day the Reapers attacked. That's not the wild side, that's just tragic, and to be honest, I hope the Reapers got him. But after, she stole her now ex's car and took it up into the mountains. And that's when the Reapers attacked, so she just kept going. If I had to say anything about her character, I'd say she's not someone that thinks before she acts. She's way too reactive for a world of human hunting monsters. And speaking of those human hunting monsters, let's talk about the real nightmare of this movie, the Reapers. These monsters are built like an unstoppable tank with impenetrable scales that turn every bullet into a tickle. They don't eat, they don't sleep, they just exterminate. And now they're the unwanted guests of the lowlands, hunting with a cold, calculated efficiency. But there's a twist. They can't climb above 8,000 feet for some strange reason. We're going to get deeper into that later, but it's kind of like the big reveal, so I don't want to ruin it now. But what you need to know is that they hunt humans, and only humans. They're impossible to slow down, and no one has ever killed one. But like I said, we can get a little bit into what we know about their origins soon. Okay, believe it or not, that's all the characters. So now let's break down the plot, and then we can get to the review.
There is no safe way. I know every map, every route. 2 days walk, impossible to stay above the line the whole time.
The elevation journey is a roller coaster of desperation, danger, and non-stop Reaper engagements. The setup is simple yet intense. 3 years ago, a swarm of Reapers erupted from the earth, killing 95% of the human population. The only survivors cling to life at 8,000 feet and above. It's a fragile sanctuary where the monsters can't reach, but I don't know if you know this, it's almost impossible to grow something at that altitude. But when Will finds out that his son's life-saving oxygen filters are running low, and that he'll have to venture below the line into this new eerie realm where these Reapers reign supreme.
We should get the hell out of here.
The journey down is going to take our team on a relentless, heart-pounding rush through various nightmares of this new empty world. The team is Will, Katie, and Nina, and they all set out. Their first encounter with a Reaper happens at a former ski area. The team is just walking and a Reaper spots them. With no time to dial down the panic, Will rushes to reactivate the ski lift's backup generator, lifting them to a temporary haven above the safe line. But this is also the first sign that Katie isn't ready to be out here. She, instead of going with the team, just starts running up the mountain. Will and Nina get on the lift to safety, but Katie has to climb up and jump on like a dummy. This initial fight really sets the tone. Whenever they see a Reaper, it becomes a race against time, where every second could be your last under the elevation line.
A mine? Working mine, Will? That's your plan? That's a death trap by definition.
Shortly after, the team makes their way to a mining tunnel. It's a dark labyrinth where the safe route is now welded shut. So they're gonna need to travel 1,000 yards under the line in the dark with very few ways out. And here, the team really starts to get on edge, and soon the Reapers strike. This time, escape really isn't an option. The Reaper's tendrils sweep through the tunnel, claiming Katie's life in a heart-stopping moment. Basically, they ran into a small tunnel in the larger tunnel, and the Reaper can't get in there. Katie sees another tunnel into another area, but it's not into a new area, it's into the same tunnel that they just came from, the one that the Reaper is already in.
What was she thinking?
However, if she just would have looked around a little bit longer, she would have seen that there's a ladder that leads to a tunnel to the surface. So Nina and Will manage a narrow escape back above the line, and they're pretty messed up over losing Katie, but Will can't stop. I mean, he can't even slow down.
I should have never brought us in those mines. Would have been easier scaling the mountain with no equipment.
The next skirmish happens in the ruins of a Boulder hospital, where Will is on this crucial mission to find these oxygen filters. As they search the abandoned hospital, another Reaper emerges, and its presence is a menacing threat to say the least. He finds a bunch of filters and fills his backpack, good for another year of oxygen for his son. Also, in a crazy moment of quick thinking, Will shoots these oxygen canisters and launches the Reaper out of the 6th floor of the hospital into the parking lot, stalling the monster just long enough for them to get out. But the Reaper gets up.
We can't live like this forever. Sooner or later, we have to fight them.
Now that Will has the oxygen filters, he wants to head back and not worry about his side of the deal. He's supposed to take Nina to her lab so she can make a bullet that can get through these Reaper scales. And Nina honestly thinks that she can figure out a way to fight back against these things.
But I need your help. I can't do this alone.
Let's go.
So reluctantly, he says he'll take her. So they head to the lab where Nina works. So she tries the thing that she's been wanting to try, and it doesn't work.
You tried, Nina. You did everything you could.
She decides to stay and keep trying, knowing that if she doesn't find the answers, most likely she'll be found and killed by a Reaper. But think about it. How many people have died for her idea that she can create something that can kill one of these monsters?
You got me here. But it didn't work, and I'm not leaving until it does or until they kill me first.
Will can't stay, so he heads home with the oxygen filters for his son. He's on his way home, flying up the mountain in a truck that they had found. You can tell that he's happy and he's feeling victorious until his front tire blows out and his truck flips. Around that time, Nina is having a light bulb moment. She decides to add cobalt to the bullets. with not a moment to spare because a Reaper breaks into her lab, and there's no time like the present for a field test. So Nina unleashes this cobalt-laced bullet and watches as the monster explodes from the inside. It turns out that the Reapers are actually robots of some kind. And it means that something or someone sent them here to wipe us out, but leave the highest elevations of the world alone.
They hunt us, but they don't eat us. They don't sleep. They don't breathe. They don't go an inch above 8,000 feet. It's not a living creature. That's programming.
Just to answer that part, I'd like a sequel, but this is the first time that anyone has seen anything that might turn the tide. It's a moment where technology and desperation collide. Will is waking up after his car accident and he hears a Reaper that must be nearby. He makes a run for it, but the Reapers are closing in, cornering him near the edge of the safe altitude. And just when hope seems slim, Nina rushes in with her first batch of cobalt-laced bullets, taking down the pursuing Reapers in a final explosive showdown. This cinematic battle is a real test of Will's determination, Nina's integrity, and the team's unwillingness to back down no matter the cost.
Gonna feel even better when you raise that pirate flag and tell the world we have a way to beat them.
Will and Nina make it back to the village and spread the word about this new way to fight back. The last thing we see are explosions throughout the mountainside. The aliens are popping all over the place, and you can tell the next part of this war is coming. The review for this one is simply complicated. Not the movie. The movie could use a little more complexity, to be honest. It's basically a young adult novel from the 2000s with adults instead of young adults. And hey, I'm not saying that it doesn't work. Now that we're older, it's a nice change of pace to see this format again. But I'd say that a lot of the dialogue in this movie is really tough to get through. They just seem to be mad at each other over nothing a lot.
You don't need anyone's help, do you, Nina? You ever seen one coming for you? Up close.
And yes, I get that there's deep-seated anger, but, you know, push it aside just for a minute and get the job done. It's just I personally get to the, okay, we get it, you hate each other level really, really fast. But to counter that dialogue, the action will keep you interested. But also, I have a few more small gripes.
And then giant murder bugs hatch from the ground, and it's amazing how quick nostalgia sets in.
A big one is that I don't understand why they constantly compare these monsters to insects.
They track us like giant mosquitoes.
It's not a bug, and it doesn't really look like a bug to me, and I just don't get the comparison, and it throws me off every single time they say it. I keep thinking maybe later on they'll show me a reason why they call it a bug.
That's what that blight is at the end of the tentacles. They track us like giant mosquitoes. Great.
Okay, what I'll give you is that if you look at its head and that it also has 6 legs, I just don't know if this is enough to compare it to an actual bug. And by that, I mean that it doesn't really look comparable to anything on Earth, so I guess you can call it anything you want, you know? Another thing, before I give this movie a rating, we have to talk about Maddie Hassan, the actor that plays Katie. I don't know if I can blame her or the dialogue they gave her or the situations they put her in.
We both know who you're trying to Katie, and it's not me. It's your best friend's husband.
She's also in scenes next to blockbuster movie stars like Deadpool's girlfriend and Captain America, so whenever she has a few small holes in her performance, they really stand out. I mean, Nina is supposed to be the unlikable one. That's the role, and it's well done because I think she's insufferable by the time she actually saves the day. But why do I also dislike Katie so much? She's supposed to be the one that explains the seriousness of the situation by her death in the mines. But to be honest, I don't really miss her whenever she's gone.
Caltech students are too dumb for you? So what's that make us then?
But okay, even with all of that, I'm not gonna lie, this movie isn't terrible. I don't know if it deserved a theatrical release, but with the way that the film industry is now, it's really the only way to see a profit to continue a movie that is obviously set up for sequels. Not unless you sold the rights to Netflix or Prime or something. But again, this one settles nicely into the I'm not upset that I watched it category. Elevation has some amazing drone cinematography, and the action is tense, which is good. I do sometimes feel bad for Anthony Mackie having to run up all these hills, but you know, that's what he gets paid for.
I'm so tired. Everything hurts. Running is impossible.
Either way, what did you think of Elevation? Comment below with your thoughts and reviews and any movies that you would like to see me break down. And please, like and subscribe. It really helps the channel out. Okay, everyone, I will see you in the next one. Hey, thanks for watching. Click here for more videos and subscribe to keep up with all the Blake's World updates. I'd appreciate it. All right, I'll see you next time.